Good everybody, and welcome to the business podcast, focused business podcast that is Revitalise Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet with some wonderful business connections, not just locally, but globally, and take the opportunity to welcome along our business connections to really find out, to get under the skin, to find out about them, their business, what makes them tick, a little bit of reflection, and hopefully they'll share with you a few of the golden nuggets of top tips from their business, from their industry, or just from business in general. And today and this week, I've got the great pleasure to be welcoming along a fellow connection, an RBC member, a fellow networker, seasoned networker who's been helping many people out and about around the other side of the pond over in the Netherlands and beyond. Can you please welcome with me this week is the one and only Julie Taylor of Buzz Network. And Julie, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I've got a technical question. It's my background the wrong way around.
That's quite all right. That'd be okay if we find
Oh,
it.
it's
If
fine.
people are live, they're going to see it anyway.
I can swap it, no worries.
No.
And apologies for the weather. I think you've got storms as well. So let's pretend I'm by this pool. There you go. I'm back by the pool. Yeah.
The world of technology, everybody. We have a chance that we go live, and we're live on LinkedIn Live at 5. I'm also on my YouTube channel, Revitalise Networking, and it just shows you technology works when it wants to, and technology can be a little bit of a pain sometimes, but it is really useful right now as well. So hopefully there's no storms here for us, Julie. But can we start off first of all? I've known you for quite a while now, and your business journey has been developing over the last few months. Could you tell everybody about your business journey so far to date? What's been happening and where you are right at this minute?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's almost 2 years of Buzz now. It
Wow.
will be in the summer. I know it's sort of gone in a blink of an eye. But we actually met online at Glasgow business event. I think it was COVID times because it went from being Glasgow to being online. And then I think I went to first online Revitalise event back in March 2021.
Wow.
And that's it. And then I'm in with the crowd. So this is my second business in the Netherlands, my second business ever. And so it was great to meet Lee and Revitalise and get to learn about networking. And I went to some other networking groups. And then for me, COVID finished and I was like, right, let's do this. I know what it's like to work on your own. You don't know all the questions. Well, you know the question. You'll have loads of questions. You don't know all the answers. Running a business, you don't have all the connections, and literally just asking a question can change everything. So that's what I love about networking. It can spark some ideas, collaborations. I can't really see a downside to it. The only thing will be time and investment of money, but it's part of your marketing plan. So as long as you've researched where you're going, what's it for, I don't see a reason why not to know it. I'm probably that person that just talk to anybody at the bus stop or anything like that. It's me.
It's been a heck of a journey though for you though, Julie. So I've noticed from just first meeting you online and doing those Glasgow meetings, etc., and then learning a bit more about where you're based. And I mean, you've travelled over and seen us at one of the summits as well. That was in Edinburgh. 2 of them. Sorry, 2.
Yeah.
Stand corrected, everybody. 2. Buzz Networking has really developed now as a business journey for you, and that sort of business journey for Buzz Network, and what's been the biggest challenge for you over the past couple of years? What have you had to overcome?
Yeah, there's been so many. I won't go into details because it's on a podcast and I can share that later. I had a big personal problem near the end of my first year, so that just totally took the road away, and I had to stop my business. So this is when you need your resilience. This is when you need your network. You need your people around you. I work on my own. I'm not one of those people that need to go co-working to have the noise around them. I think if I went in a coffee shop, the of the coffee thing would get on my nerves. I'm quite happy working on my own and, having quiet time, but I still need to try things out, ask questions and brainstorm. So challenges, it's in a blog as well, which is on my LinkedIn. I can also share the 5 things I did wrong in my first year of business. So I'll be looking forward to refreshing that, and maybe I can keep it down to 5. Hopefully it's not 5 for this year. In the second year, if it's all learning, if if something goes wrong, it can really sort of stop you, take your energy away, feel disappointed, whatever it is. But the learning opportunities, there really are. Things go wrong all the time. People do things wrong. Systems go wrong. So, you think you're going to start the day with that 5-minute thing on the system and then it doesn't work. It's never a dull day as an entrepreneur, that is for sure, or a business owner. So you've got to roll with the punches. You've got to find out what gives you energy, what sucks your energy and sucks your time, and focus on those sort of things. So, yeah, it might all look great, but we all have our down days. We all have things that go wrong. They're learning opportunities. We just try not to do them again.
It's interesting when you say you had 5 things you did incorrectly. I'm not going to say wrong, incorrectly in business. Could you just share one of those? Could you just share one of those for us?
Ooh,
Give us an insight into your 5. So, what was the one that was highlighted to you?
It's probably going to be a little bit counterintuitive for networking, but it was actually trusting somebody that didn't actually come up with the goods. So I think that was me being over supportive, over, I don't know what the right word is, like over wanting them to do well. Seeing real opportunity in somebody's business and offering to do collaboration. And it ended up that I was doing all the work and the legwork, and that person, I was coming up with all the ideas. And at some point, you just have to say, are we doing this? You're not feeling it. Just say no. Because in life, there is yes, no, and maybe not now as well. And you can start with a yes and it can turn into the no, or it can turn into the not now. No's can turn into yeses as well. So so I had to cut ties. And I suppose what did I learn there is just to get a bit more commitment from the other side. Even though I see opportunities, some people aren't ready in their business to take those opportunities. So maybe I was just pushing them a bit too hard, and I could see it and they couldn't.
Yeah. I think sometimes, though, thanks for sharing that with us, but I think sometimes it's a pre-qualification you've got with the connections that you're working with. And it's also making sure sometimes the word no has to be said. Sometimes if it's not going to work, it's just not going to work. You don't just try and make it work or try and fit a square peg into a round hole type thing. It's sort of like you want to try and get that right sort of balance between each other if you are going to work in collaboration. And I think sometimes it's a test and see. You can try it a little bit and think, okay, you've both got to stand your own 2 feet and go, listen, it's not going to work. Probably best off being in separate camps than being in one camp together. I think that's such a good point. Thank you for sharing that, Julie, because I know it's hard for anybody in business to really, a lot of people go, no, it didn't work right, or they don't share what didn't work right for. But that is the building blocks of any type of business in my eyes. You've got to give it a go to learn from it. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think as well, I see myself as a bootstrapping business. And other people are using that term, and don't get me wrong, it took me a little while to work out what that term meant. And there's pre-levels before that. There's like the hobby business owner. There's bootstrapping isn't some money comes through the door, oh, quickly go spend that on something else. Bootstrapping is actually having a plan and executing that plan and investing in yourself. So I think I sometimes see that opportunities in people, but they've not quite got to that stage yet. So business development takes time. It takes time to know yourself and your business and what's possible. Research. So important.
So it's important we looked at the challenges there, but one thing I wanted to find out, and literally leave this sort of area of our questions, what's been the biggest achievement for you in the last 2 years? Because we've spoke a lot about the people that you've met. We've met some of your connections that you've very kindly introduced to me, some wonderful connections out there, and there's many that you've kept those relationships going strongly with. What's been your biggest achievement in the last 2 years of your business coming through that sort of era? What was one that you've literally burst through the roof with?
Well, I think that'll be it. So that'd be the members that have signed up this year. Because I started out I set my stall up quite early on. If somebody wants to press some buttons and they don't really know me and buy a membership, it would be quite unusual. But I'm not a gym. You're not comparing apples with apples. They need to get to know me, and that's absolutely fine. But I wanted to have my stall set up and ready to go, and then it all happened this year. And actually, the first two were new packages that I created because I was asked for them, even though somebody else in marketing said, "Don't change your offering." I was like, "Yeah, but somebody's asking for it." So again, you don't just change like that, but you do ask the audience, and you go, "Right, what's not quite? You tell me what's not quite right, and I'll stop being stubborn and I'll change a little bit." And then the other two came along within 48 hours. The week before I was traveling to the US, was like, "Oh, this is great. Hopefully all my systems." And so it was more me tweaking things and making sure they got what they needed, while I've got my eye on the future as well. So it's like, whoa, I didn't expect this to happen. Great that they're, in Revitalise as well, some of them. And it takes time, I've we hear all the stories about how many touch points. It could be 7, it could be 12, it could be whatever. It's an investment. And as a small business owner, you need to be sure of your investment. So I know it's not a press some buttons. Oh, that looks good. Let's do a bit of that. It takes time, the know, like, trust, and just building that relationship. So I'm absolutely fine with that. Yeah, we're getting there.
Well done. It's always about that word of mouth. And I think that's one of the most powerful marketing tools that we've got in this world. Nothing will change from that whatsoever. It's once somebody gets involved with yourself, they pass that information on to somebody else. And that's what I saw happening with you over the past couple of years, well, the last few months, really, since the beginning of this year, just having that conversation, introducing, keeping the conversation flowing. And really well done in doing that, Julie, because we've had many conversations about that over the past couple of years. One of the things I like to delve into is because we've came out of this sort of, well, we're still in this virtual world right now. We're still living in a hybrid world, and there's a lot of people that are drifting away from that, but some people are still embracing it. Me and you on the same page of going, it's part of what we offer as a business now, both camps. How has your business adapted? Because you've now launched around sort of Leiden and around sort of the Netherlands and those sort of areas. You've now got a bit of face-to-face starting to happen. How have you adapted your business to live in a virtual world? Has it been quite an easy transition, or just keeping it the same?
It's actually got quieter. Yeah. I mean, I saw here in the Netherlands, we seem to come out of COVID quicker than in the UK. Not necessarily if you're going to compare, legal things from the government. It's more about how people felt about being in a room with other people. I think we're a bit more up for a risk or something. I don't know what it is. So the online networking for me was busier last year than it is this year. I keep going. I keep offering it every month because it opens, as we know, doors that we would have never found. I met a speaker that I had this afternoon. She's in the UK. Never met her in person. I met her through her Facebook group. So I feel like we've just gone from, we had to go online to, I don't know if I want to go back out again to slam that door on Zoom. And I'm like, no, still a thing, which was, like I said, I was in the US a couple of weeks ago and I was like, online networking, where are you? Because I'm on your time zone. And I didn't find a lot. I'd already researched a little bit beforehand because the groups that had been to before, they had a particular in-person event, so they weren't going to do online that week. So I just don't see any downsides of online networking. Again, you're going to the right place for the right reasons. If we've done that, check. Otherwise, I had 2 amazing conversations last week. One through somebody here, but this lady's from near where I come from in Yorkshire. That wouldn't have happened. And also somebody that's here, and we've tried to meet up since we first connected 3 years ago, and we still never met in person, and I don't know when we will. But it doesn't stop the business happening. It doesn't stop the magic happening and the collaborations, which has come out of those 2 amazing conversations last week. So I just feel people I don't like FOMO. I'm not really into fear of missing out. But if you're stuck with something, go to, and they're not physically near you, apart from asking your network, is go online network again. Try it out.
I think there's a great balance between 2, and I think I'm a big sort of campaigner in regards of using both sort of areas, and I think it plays a part in anybody's business right now, because business can be done online quite comfortably and quite easily. We've got so much technology that we can use out there with forums or conferences online or meetings or conducting even just one-to-one meetings. But the big thing that happens with networking and also with the tools that we have available, is it's good to talk. You heard that phrase, it is good to talk. It's great to keep the conversations flowing. And it's all about the consistency of the conversations that we're having. So great that you've adapted and kept that in the place that you needed to. And I think if we do find it's going a little bit quiet at the minute, but there's still a place for it. I think it's good to say that as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
In regards of your industry that you're in, you've got two camps, because you've also got the networking you're doing, which really great what's happening. We've got that great collaboration between ourselves and you together as well. But you also do a lot on LinkedIn as well, and I know you help a lot of people with their social platform or their social footprint on the power of the LinkedIn, the virtual network as I call it. I'd like to hear what your golden top 3 tips would be, and what would you be choosing? What industry or what sector would you be showing those top 3 tips with everybody?
Well, I suppose, on the subject of personal branding or helping somebody with social media, I was talking to my client earlier today, and I was explaining like evergreen content. And also the speaker I had this afternoon, she's in the social media space as well, is like, if you feel under pressure to post, that is not a good reason to post. There is no posting police. Nobody's going to come and hit you with a stick. And I think it comes across as, not really story, not really a share, not really value, not really call to action if you're just throwing some words out there. So it'd probably say for my 3 top tips is, not necessarily in the personal branding space, but definitely sits in there, is you need to talk about your business.
Yes.
Because if you're not going to do it and you haven't set up some sort of referral scheme, or you've got the most amazing website, product, service that nobody else has, you're going to have to do some legwork. It takes some time and energy. It's part of your marketing plan. If you think you're having a marketing plan, you're not having networking or not talking about your business. So I know we've got some introverts actually in our network. And, I hope we're a safe space to come and share. I time my introductions when I have them in person, but that's just to keep things on track. But people can come back with more ideas and things like that.
Yeah.
Probably my second one is be curious, just in general. Ask questions, ask lots and lots of questions, try things out. I don't mean just jump into things without considering it. An example would be Threads came along, but I read about it and I knew that if I went into Threads, started an account and then thought, no, this isn't for me, it could take my Instagram down. So that was a no from me. So it's all about, do a little bit of investigation. If it feels right, do it. If it doesn't feel right, it's maybe not for now. And the other one, I think I might need to use nicer words, but I'd actually written down, don't take no for an answer, but that sounds like you've been really pushy and really,
No,
but what I mean by that is, just because the words of something don't sound like you, still go and ask, because I'll probably say for a situation for us here in the Netherlands is we don't have much funding or support from Chamber of Commerce. We don't get free webinars. We don't get the digital online, can't remember what it's called now, your amazing portal by the government with all the free webinars and everything. We don't have anything like that. So if you find something and it's back in the UK, as long as you're not taking somebody's seat, sign up for it. And if there's some funding that sort of sounds like you, ask some questions. And it might be just the words they're using on words you're used to. It doesn't mean it's not for you. You've got to be think out the box. Don't stay in your lane. And things like testing out your niche. I'm pretty confident with my niche. Got it wrong right at the start, but then did a correction. But I still go and test out my niche and just check that's right. So I'll probably do that once a year because I don't want to miss out on anything. Oh, sorry, miss out on me.
I think that's so important. I mean, I've actually just dropped that into the chat area for YouTube as well. So, Julie's top 3 tips for business tips, I look at it as talk about your business, be curious about the connections, ask the questions, don't take no for an answer, commit and make it happen. Test out what you're doing. That's for me in a synopsis what we're talking about there as well. And I think that's really important. I think about a lot of people that don't talk about what they do and how they do it, Julie. I
Mm.
think that's a great point to bring into that one. They're a bit hesitant of putting it out there. They think that they're doing too much. Well, some days they're doing a bit too little in my eyes.
Mm.
Just keep the message going, keep talking about what you do and how you do it and how you're helping people, how your product or service or you as an individual is assisting people. I think it's really important. So if you are on the YouTube channel for Revitalise Network and you subscribe, you are watching us live. If you look in the comment box, you'll see Julie's digital business card in there as well, and also Julie's top 3 golden business tips in there as well. And if you are watching this on live on LinkedIn, please feel free to add a comment or two into the comment boxes. If you've got a question or you just want to share something that, relative to what Julie's talking about, myself, just put it in there. It's always get recorded through this as well. So thanks very much. Julie, thanks for sharing that with us. But one of the next ones for me really is that we have a lot of, we've had a lot of personal things that have gone on. We look at a lot of things in business quite a lot, but how do you self-reflect for yourself? Do you take time out of your business for personal development versus business development? How do you incorporate that into your schedule?
Um, mm. I do try and keep Fridays clear to do non-work calls. So I might be working on my business, might be thinking about business development. However, both the beginning of last year and the beginning of this year, I've been studying on those Fridays. So I was really happy that I managed to get some funding by the government, which is finished now. And I'm on a program with 87 women at the moment. And it's all about entrepreneurship. And next Thursday, I'll be pitching in front of maybe about 40, 50 people. It'll be fine. It'll be what it'll be. So that's my personal development. And actually, I met up with somebody last week in Delft, and she said, I had to meet you. I was surprised you went on that course. And I was just like, well, I'm self-taught business owner, so let's try and formalize it a bit better. And I have learned things through that. I've learned probably the biggest learnings have been going back to the research, and doing that again, and don't stop doing that. Don't just stay static. And part of it's seeing what's going on in the market, asking for feedback as well. We might not like all the feedback. We might not just change things like that, but if you know what they say, if a lot of people are saying the same thing, then yeah. So and through that course, I was reading. I didn't get very far, but I will go back to it. The Lean Startup book by Eric Ries. The Lean Startup book. Lean, as in the lean processes.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, Eric Ries, I think is called RIES.
Good suggestion, everybody. Good book to read.
Yeah. So, and I think maybe I didn't get too far in that book because I was like, oh, this is going all right. Because at the beginning, he was saying you can't scale a business if you've not got processes. And I was like, I come from a project management background. There's definitely processes, even if it's just me, which it is in this business just now. So it's about repeatable things and making things easy for yourself, rather than just going 1 month later, right, how do I do this again? So it could be the simplest ways of doing it, but just try and help yourself. It doesn't slow you down. It does help yourself, especially if you come back off holiday and you're trying to remember how to do things. So yeah.
And in regards to the books that you're reading, especially with the book you just mentioned there as well, do you do Audible or do you read hardback and break the spine and have a read it through that way? What's the way you?
I have to read a physical book. I don't really manage to take myself out anywhere because I'm either cycling on a train, but if I'm on a train, I've got Wi-Fi, so I'll probably be following up on leads or posting socials. So yeah, I don't really feel like I have that time to listen to something without getting distracted by something else. So yeah, old school analog book.
Old school and old book. I love that because I got wrong the other week for saying I scribbled notes into my book and things like that, but that was just something I did when I was in sales, and you always scribble down little notes or little thoughts that you've got in there and use it as a bit of a workbook as well. Thanks for sharing that, because I think it's also that. What's been your biggest learnings then? I mean, if you chat about self-reflection and personal development and business development, what's been your biggest learnings in the past two years by doing that? What have you taken away from it?
It's probably that I do know most things I need to run a business. It probably just putting it in the right order.
Okay.
And so I feel quite comfortable about how things are. And I think it's more about the bits I don't know, how am I going to solve them? So I probably say it's that. And even the guy who's in the process of developing my website,
Yeah.
he says, you're older than my mum, but you understand more tech. And I was like, no, I know my limit. I will not go past the limit. I'm curious. I'm like, what happens if I press that? But I won't do it. So it's almost it's about knowing yourself. I'd probably say, not beating yourself up that I'm not on TikTok and I probably have got a YouTube channel with nothing in it, but I'm looking forward to, we'll have a bit of something there. Is you don't have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's about consistency and I had one of my last bosses when I worked in RBS was saying, can we do 10 things? We can do 10 things, or should we do 3 things well? And that's really stuck with me. And it's about, I don't think you impress anybody by doing lots of things not quite so well, or you did it really well, you're all over it and then you've disappeared. So it's just about just sticking with the core things that you can do and just taking your time with other stuff.
That's a great point I mentioned as well. I think a lot of people try to do too much at first straight away. They'll always get all excited and they try to do everything at the same time. But unfortunately, you don't get the balance then as well. And that's when things fall off the cliff, or the as you use the plates start to wobble, when you start to spin them far too many times. But when you focus on those 2 or 3 quality things that can make a massive impact to your business, and you focus on it so much, it has a better impact of what you want to do for the long term versus the short term, getting everything on board as well. Thanks for sharing that. Really appreciate it. So what's the next steps for you then? What's around the corner for Julie? If we fast forward 6 months down the line, where do you see your business in 6 months' time?
Well, I'm going to take the quiet summer period, whether I like it or not. People take 3 weeks holiday. And I might want to network, and there's still a few people, but we just got to take that as, so we're going to do a bit more fun things on a Friday and maybe go for business walks, business sit by the beach and all that sort of thing. And that's going to be working on the research. So going back, and I have lots of lovely stats and lovely data. I am somebody that loves Excel, but I don't allow myself to hang out on Excel. If anybody wants help with an Excel formula, they can drop me a note at any time. But I'm just going to go back the way and see what had the biggest impact and what I need to do more of. I've got some ideas, which I think I'll work on towards the end of this year. So yeah, it's about just taking that time to regroup and get a good plan in place.
You take a Friday off, and the question I want to just ask you, just to divulge from that one's not a Friday off.
So take a Friday off. You're on the golf course, but you're networking. I am still chained to my laptop, but I'm not on calls. I'm not taking one-to-ones.
I have conversations on the golf course.
I know you do. You're working, and I'm not off on a Friday. I'm not off on a Friday.
I do, but I do. One question I was going to ask you: how much time do you dedicate in your week to work on your business instead of working in your business? If you could dedicate time to work on your business, how much time do you do per week, Julie, would you say? Just one extra question there.
I couldn't say, because to me it's all one and the same things, because if I work on my business, I then want to share something with somebody. If I find something for me, I'll be like, oh God, have you seen this? And it's all intermingled. That probably is not a very structured business owner type answer. Yeah. But yeah, and also I'll probably, do some deep work, and then I'll go and hang out on LinkedIn. And in the evening I'm on Instagram. So yeah, and I run a Facebook group as well, so that needs to, and that's exploded crazy, so that needs a bit of looking after as well. So yeah, so I couldn't really say, very fluid.
But I love that. That's fine. That has its ways and its means in there as well.
Yeah.
Now, the question I like to really sort of wrap things up with today, as well as always, is the word of the business introduction. If people are watching here today on LinkedIn, and especially on the YouTube channel for Revitalise Networking, who or what is a great business introduction for you? If someone could introduce you to the right business intro today, who or what would they be?
I'd probably say it's going to be two things. A lot of people come to me in networking looking for new clients. There's not many people in the room that don't say that. So I'd probably say people that are starting out and just need help putting it in some sort of order, or people that have been going for a while and need some new ideas.
Yeah,
There you
okay.
go. You get two answers to one question.
So I've just put in there startup with fresh ideas for existing, and I'm just going to type this in there as well, existing business owners. Okay, so as I can spell properly as well, I'm probably typing
Yeah.
this in there at the same time. So at least they can go straight onto the YouTube channel there for us as well. But yeah, I think that's really important. I think it's such an important part. Many people say you want to speak to everybody, but especially part of this is really identify, being specific is really important, of actually nailing down, laser targeted thinking exactly who you want to speak to, because there's many people watching and listening to us today and they might thought, yeah, I can introduce that to Julie right now. So I've dropped that in there. Great business intro for Julie, a startup or with fresh ideas for existing business owners. That's in there as well. And you can find out more about Julie's business, especially through her digital business card, which is shared in the chat area before there. And your website, is that just www.buzznetworking.com?
.eu.
You see, I knew I'd get that one. So I'm actually going to drop that in there as well. Buzznetworking.eu. There we go. That's dropped in there as well.
Oh, we missed the business out. Buzz Business Networking. Yeah, it's a really long one.
I did. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Let's put that in. Buzz. That's my fault, by the way.
It's okay.
Business networking.
It's one of those. I got it, and then I was like, "Oh, that's a really long one."
.eu. Brilliant. We'll put that in there for us as well.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. That's fine. It's important that we put that in. So don't click the first one. Click the second one. That's my. See, it shows it's live. Right? It shows it's live on that one for us as well.
Continuous improvement.
Julie, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. And is there anything else you'd like to add today, or any sort of last words from yourself?
I'd just say, if you're not sure about coming to my online networking, you can try out an hour in the Hive, which is a complimentary brainstorming session. They run most weeks. I only allow a maximum of 6 people in there, and we celebrate, commiserate, try things out, test things out. We have very interesting conversations. One of them went from AI to microdosing the other week. So you're going to meet people that you've never met before. I will make sure, because some of your guys come along to those meetings, but I always make sure that they don't know any people in that room. So if you're curious and you want to come and meet some people online, give that a try first. So you're very welcome to Hour in the Hive.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Julie. It's a nice little offer to everybody who's been watching and listening today as well. And a big thank you for Julie for joining us today for Revitalise Meets, the business-focused podcast that's out there on YouTube. If you go to Revitalise Network and please subscribe to the channel, you can find out more with over 140 interviews on there from locally and global business connections that I've had the pleasure to meet with over the many, many years I've been running this sort of channel as well. And especially on LinkedIn, please like, comment and share. Or if you want to pop a comment on there, send me a message directly, please do so as well. Now, as always, we run these once a week and we'll be scheduled for next Tuesday live at 5 on LinkedIn Live, where I've got the great pleasure to welcome along one of my real previous business connections and colleagues in the travel industry. And I'm going to be welcoming along Alan Trinidad from Travel Counsellors. So he's going to be sharing his travel journey over the vast 30 years he's been involved in travel from many, many areas and traveling all around the world. So Alan's going to be joining me next week, live at 5 on LinkedIn Live and on the YouTube channel next week on Tuesday afternoon at 5 o'clock. From me and from Julie, thank you very much for watching and for listening to us today. And we look forward to speaking to you all again very, very soon. And for me and Julie, happy connecting, everybody. Take care. We'll see you all again.
Bye.
Bye-bye for now.